Ramjoo's Diary, April 25, 1924, subtitled A Peep in the Future. The work today is centered around the foundations for the extension of the veranda at the back of Baba's jokti and a small bathroom thereon. The horse, Sufi, arrives today. As declared, it is an excellent and graceful animal of snow white color. A portion of the mess quarters is turned into a stable for this beautiful but troublesome guest. In the evening, when I am reading to Baba an Urdu book, the story of Mansoor, Baba suddenly interrupts me and says, I will live in this world for 54 years more, after which I will undergo a tragic death. The Parsis will bring about my end in a very bad way. Drifting on to the topic of the true lover of God, Baba continued, just as a thirsty man in the desert under the hot sun values water more than a heap of pearls and diamonds placed before him, so also a true lover of God wants him alone and considers every other object as a trifle before God. The real lover desires no fame, desires no name, fame, or money, but his beloved. He who does not possess such an attribute is a man full of self-interest. Subtitle is Labor Yoga at Arangam. After supper, when all are sitting around Baba, he asks each of us to sing a song. A few do so, and then comes Mr. Barucha's turn. Mr. Barucha asks Baba to be excused, saying he never visited a theater to know how to sing. Baba gets very angry and orders Barucha to quit the room, saying he possesses such a low opinion for the mandali to have compared it with dramatic performers. The rest of us all dispersed too. However, all are reassembled after some time and the singing is continued up to 9 p.m. When Baba, who is on a fast today, takes some watermelon juice, milk, and rose syrup prepared by Gustaji from the watermelon and rose syrup specially brought for this purpose in the afternoon by Nervous. April 26, 1924, subtitle is Animal Food. In the recess time, after the usual labor work in the afternoon, Baba gave us the following explanation. There are many disadvantages of flesh eating. The chief one is that it increases passion. There is very little intelligence in the stone, so little as to be nil. The manifestation of intelligence has its beginning from vegetable life. It increases in animals and reaches its climax in the human form. Now, passion increases with intelligence. The more intelligence, the more passion. And likewise, the less intelligence, the less passion. Therefore, if we take animal food, the element of passion increases in us, while it neither increases nor decreases when we take vegetable food. Stone has almost no intelligence, but almost all knowledge, while a human being has almost no knowledge, but almost all intelligence. The combination of these two elements gives birth to a perfect one. The perfect one is he who has all knowledge and all intelligence. Perfection comes only in the form of man. Now, every man has a certain amount of knowledge and the rest intelligence. If he has 1/4 knowledge and 3/4 intelligence, that's the end of that quote. Somehow, and the explanation is somehow further notes could not be taken, and unhappily, Baba's full explanation cannot be given here. April 27th, 1924. Sufi becomes shaitan is the subtitle. Early this morning, when we were just going to sit for our usual prayers, Masaji raises the cry that the horse Sufi has stampeded. All are asked to chase after the animal. It was after a great deal of maneuvering for an hour on foot and cycle through fields and stream beds that at last we succeeded in collaring Sufi and bringing him back to his stable. Although the chase caused many to gasp and fight for breath, and some to measure the ground, yet it provided a very refreshing change from the monotonous prayers which were canceled. Hence, we take to the usual labors. There were many visitors today, including the Sata brothers. The latter gentlemen are very keen followers of Gandhi and staunch supporters of the Swaraj movement. During discourse with them, Baba asked them to denounce the idea of Swaraj and take up the idea of self-realization, which is the real Swaraj, that is, one's own rule. In the afternoon, the atmosphere began to get hot. Rustam, who was asked to come at a certain time, missed it and appeared rather late. Then Masaji, too, is found fault with by Baba, who declares that he is disappointed with the Mandali and talks about going away. In the evening, Rustam comes again in his car with a trainer, apparently with the object of, quote unquote, teaching manners to Sufi, who is so very turbulent. The trainer takes a trial mount on the horse without his or Rustam's asking Baba's permission for doing so. As soon as Baba comes to know this, then the sparks seen in the afternoon burst into a bonfire. Rustam and the poor new trainer are taken right and left by Baba for taking a mount on the animal without his permission, once it had been dedicated to him. At first, Baba asked Rustam to take away the horse. But finding Rustam much grieved for the mistake he had made, Baba decided once again to keep the animal. Mayor, could you unmute and continue reading? Because I know it's late in Mumbai.
Yeah. Okay. April 28, 1924. Nothing unusual happened today, and the day passed away in routine to some person who had come for Baba's blessing. Baba gave a lecture mainly centered around the boundless treasure found in divinity and the worthlessness of submitting oneself to a perfect one for worldly benefits. Mother Gulmai went to Pune by 10 p.m. train. We all were specially kept out of bed by Baba to wave her goodbye. Direct agriculture. We get visitors today, but Mr. Adesha Irani with his friends and Mr. Param from Karachi arrived in the afternoon. As a result, labor yoga at Arundel. We get a good treat of fruits brought by them. Baba discussed with Mr. Adesha a plan of cultivating a fruit garden on the Persian lines to provide occupation to the Mandali under his direction. Thus, in addition, in the shape of Mr. Adesha was made to the whole time staying Mandali today. Further, it has been decided to begin the preliminary layout of grounds for this blessed garden immediately, under the supervision of the newly appointed Director of Agriculture. April 30th, 1924, uninvited guest. An unpleasant affair took place today. Nevertheless, it provided a practical demonstration of Baba's control over his temper. Mr. Khushru Kasteji's family, along with a friend, came to see Baba from Ahmednagar. They alighted from their car and without asking permission, walking straight with boots to the where Baba was having a talk with Mother Gulmai and others. Barsop tried to make them take off their boots, but he was brushed aside, and thus they they approached Baba without observing the common place, decency, and manners of strangers. To crown their vulgarate, they began to ask impertinent questions outright. To one of their questions as to what yoga he followed, Baba replied, labor yoga. Then they asked, why do you keep long locks of hair and remain in a naked state? Baba calmly showed them that the short pants he had under his long robe and put him the counter questions, pointing to his English suit, head suit and headgear. Why do you wear a felt hat? Did Zoroastrian, the prophet ever dress like this? By this time, the other party was so much excited that he promptly replied, Zoroaster did wear English dress, and in spite of arguments from one point actually seeing Baba in pants, perished in taking Baba to be completely naked. Still, Baba tried to meet their wild arguments from one point to another very calmly, thus being, can you take it up, please? Thus being, uh, foiled of their own arguments, they began to abuse while talking their departure. Taking their departure, and use many vulgar expressions such as "you are an imposter," "you direct others in wrong channels," etc. And this, however, Adi could no longer contain himself and asked them to get out at once. At this, Baba checked Adi and compelled him to apologize to the introducers for his words. No doubt they were greatly upset of Adi's apology. Baba control over his temper in the more remarkable that since morning he took nothing but a little tea without milk. Ramjoo's diary, Arangao and Tours. Today we were allowed a well-deserved holiday because the new director of agriculture, with his rough, tough methods of primitive Iran, has simply worked havoc with most of us, and so far only a preliminary layout of his would-be fruit garden is going on. I wonder how many of us would be left alive to taste the fruit of this garden if ever it comes into existence. Nevertheless, we get a good treat of fruits today from the watermelons and grapes and brought by Rustam Saya respectively. May 3rd. Of late, some children are coming daily from Arundel for Baba's blessing. Today, their number reached 30, and they have roughly been formed into a group. One of them, called Vakadaya, has been appointed their leader. This Vakadaya is really crooked from every angle of his physical body. He being a cripple, nevertheless, he seems a wield a good influence among the younger boys in keeping them in order. Arjun has been given the duty of teaching these kiddies spiritual songs every day for a few hours. Almost every day, some sort of fruit or sweet comes to Arangao, which makes a good prasad, an edible gift bearing the master's love for these young visitors, and makes them eagerly repeat their visit regularly and prompt. Today, prasad was very special as it came in a shape of 2 huge baskets of fruits brought by Munshi from Bombay. After Baba had some personal conversation with Munshi, and all Mandali gathered round, and the question of Barso refusal to pay respect to the Mandali on religious grounds is discussed. Munshi's opinion is taken as to whether Baba's order to show respect to each other violates any religious rules of Islam. Of course, he too finds no fault with the order in question, and Barsuk gets greatly absent. Baba received a letter from Bailey saying that a friend of his said that he saw Baba in Bombay. Bailey complains as to why he was overlooked. If Baba had really been to Bombay, but adds that it may be a miracle, as he confident that Baba would have seen from or informed him if he had really come to Bombay. Whatever the facts may be, Baba is among us and has not been to any outstation far short of going to Bombay.
Thanks very much, Mayor.
Welcome.
Shailaja, could you unmute and continue?
Sure. Jai Baba. labor yoga at Arangaon. In the afternoon, Baba went to Happy Valley for a spin with Munshi, Syed Sahib, Rustum, and Adi. There, in the beautiful and historic surroundings, Baba was in a very serene mode. Using Adi's version of the same, I will reproduce here Baba's own words. At this time, after taking tea there, Baba appears as if deeply absorbed in some high thoughts. He breaks into ecstasy by saying, if you realize but a minute particle of that knowledge, you will derive inexpressible bliss. Every external object will impart your happiness. Every substance will tell you its story in knowledge. This whole universe, which now appears as misery, will shine forth as heaven. The spiritual master molds only one charged man like himself. To him, he entrusts his everything. Of him, he makes his soul hear. The charged man distributes this inherited treasure among his circle, a few chosen ones, whose number counts 12. According to their respective abilities, the treasure, namely realization, which is the same to all, and power, which depends upon the rank in the circle and also upon personal endurance before realization, are distributed at the pre-appointed time, meaning when the master of the charged man expires. It may be that the master keeps up his external body while internally he expires. In some cases, the master's external body fails before his internal expiration takes place. Distribution means the entrusting of the charged man's internal duty to the circle members. So hence the charged man gets free. He gets free to enjoy that unfathomable bliss which hitherto had been blocked for him because of the duty to make his circle brothers realize the truth. The state of the circle members differs from that of the charged man in this respect. Members can enjoy that bliss whenever they like and can also direct their attention towards the charged man's duty at will. While the charged man, after experiencing realization for a certain period, say for a few days or hours, it is returned to the lower plane, thereby concealing the above experience, so that instead of being drowned in the divinity, he can perform his circle's duty. During the performance of the duty, he has to undergo much mental torture and has to pass through several crises. Besides this, Adi says, Baba gave many more explanations which he does not remember. Baba and party returned at about 8 p.m. Munshi and Syed Sahib left for Bombay and Nasik, respectively. While I accompanied them to the station on my way to Lonavala via Dond, as Baba has been pleased to allow me to go to home for the coming festival. Baba in seclusion, May 9, 1924. After enjoying a few days at home, I came back to Arangaon last night. Great changes have taken place in my absence. Since May 7th, Baba has imprisoned himself in the jhopdi, which has been made insect roof with wire nets placed carefully over the few ventilation openings. It is said that jhopdi was specially prepared with great haste for this purpose. The work was carried on for extra hours with the exemption of morning prayers. Baba is said to remain in seclusion for months without food, and hence he is reported to have taken food thrice and even 4 times a day before locking himself in. It was first arranged that after locking himself up, he would cease to talk even a single word, exchanging important matters in writing only. But yesterday in the evening, after the singing, Baba talked a little from the room. He said that his health is very much pulled down within a day, not because of keeping fast or anything else, but for the burden of spiritual working. And added, my state was never worse before. This body can no longer give me company. I'll take many days to leave the room after 2, 3 days. I'll keep the door open for all to see me. Yesterday, Baba took only a little quantity of water throughout the day, but today he partook of a little sago paste in the morning prepared by Masaji in milk, and also weak tea without milk. Cart dragging, May 10, 1924. This morning proved very difficult for Vishnu, who got a nasty sting from the scorpion, which was treated by Dish Shir. Baba summoned us all near his jopri and warned us to be very careful about scorpions and particularly snakes, and to carry lights with us when we were out in the night. Baba is still shut up in the room and remains on water, tea, and sometimes sago paste. The work nowadays is chiefly centered around the well. According to Ardeshir's plan, a big platform of stones is to be raised from which his waterways will be fed with water to ensure a good distribution of water throughout the proposed garden. This necessitates the collection and carrying of big stones from the surroundings. This we do with the help of a small cart, which is loaded to the brimful and then dragged by ourselves in turns near the work. Sometimes the distance thus required to be covered in even 2 furlongs. The task gets all the more trying. So often we have to drag the car through fields where the soft soil terribly hampers progress as the wheels get clogged. This painful occupation is not without a lighter side of it, as most of the winds puff and breathe like billows under the weight. When the turn comes for Barsob, his big body between the poles, struggling for progress, looks very humorous. It has given us a practical idea of what an overloaded cart or carriage might mean to the animal concerned, whether it is a horse or bullock. Snake bite treatment. While the Hindu Mandali were reciting their usual poems this morning near Baba's room, they were suddenly interrupted by Baba and asked if they carried lights with them in the night. Upon the replying in the negative, Baba stopped their devotionals and summoned all of us near him. We were put the same question, and happily we were found to be following his recent orders about carrying lights strictly. Thereupon, he once again enjoined us all to be very careful in this matter and said, everyone must carry a lantern whilst out in the dark. And then he instructed Padri as to what should be done if anybody is bitten by a snake. He said that about the bitten part, a cord should be bound tightly, the actual spot being given a cut and stuffed with permanganate of potash. After this first aid, the person should be removed to the hospital at Ahmednagar by 4 members for further treatment. As for scorpion bites, one should report to Ardeshir to get himself treated by him. The work of the platform is going on still, and along with it the cart dragging. Baba is still on liquids, and in the room
Thank you very much, Shilanja. Um, Mayor Kiran, could you unmute and continue?
Thanks. May 12th, 1924. All are summoned before Baba this morning and severely taken to task. For some of us are lately having ill feeling towards one another. Masaji and Adi are particularly criticized by Baba. And in the end, he calls us all his father and salutes us and adds, by the oath of my master, I tell you that if I were addressed by my master as father and I saluted, I would not have stayed a moment longer with him but would have left my master, considering myself unfit for his company, while you chaps do not even dare to give me up. After many more lectures, we were dispersed, but in the afternoon, after dinner, Chowdhury, one of Hindu Mandali, declared his intention of going away because of the morning lectures, which he felt too much. He tried to make him change. We tried to make him change his intentions with every argument and appeal, but this, on the contrary, irritated him more. So at last, word was sent to Baba through Gustaji about Chowdhury, when again all of us were summoned in his presence. Baba also tried his best to save Chowdhury from slipping away, but to no avail. At last, Baba asked Chowdhury why had he agreed to stay under the condition he could be treated in any way that Baba liked, and now wants to go away for a few harsh words. But he did not reply and seemed bent upon going away, or, in my opinion, committing spiritual suicide. While dismissing Chowdhury from the Mandali, Baba asked us all, who else wants to give me up? He can go too. But no one else came forward. Upon this, Baba warned the rest of us to stick to him through thick and thin if we wanted to be benefited spiritually, and then dispersed all. Baba once again began to talk of going to Persia on tour. He said he would go away anywhere for about a fortnight the moment he left the room. If I go to Persia, I will take Adi, Gustaji, and two others with me. He added. After this, I was asked by Baba to question everyone from the Mandali as to who wanted to accompany Baba on the tour. Almost all were found ready for a change. In the meantime, Rustum came with Mother Gulmai from Nagar by motor. Baba discussed the same topic with Rustum of going to Persia in a motor car. It seems Rustum did not feel enthusiastic about this new plan, and so a breeze took place between him and Baba. When we were just going to start our afternoon singing with the Aurangabad children as usual, I was called by Baba and ordered to ask everyone of the Mandali the following question. Baba has asked as Baba has asked of you whether it is becoming on our part to stay here occupying Rusub's land, who refuses to lend his car to Baba. Accordingly, I approached everyone and put them this question. Some voted for and some went against this resolution, and the matter ended there. Nothing is settled as to when Baba will be away. The rest of the day passed off in routine, save for Chaudhry's departure, who went away to Pune after all. May 13th, 1924. Again this morning, some quarrel took place between Nervous and one of Mandali while doing the day's labor. Baba overheard the same and called us all near him. Nervous is badly taken to task for causing the disturbance, and as a further punishment, he is stopped from doing the daily work. This makes Nervous feel very much, and he refuses to take dinner in the afternoon. Later on, he is pardoned by Baba and given some other duty, which he accepts and then takes his meal. Baba seems to be very comfortable and cheerful in his prison, and his food continues to be tea, curd, curry, and water, except that is only liquids. That helped platform near the well is nearly completely. The blessed platform near the well is nearly complete today, and further labor work is chiefly centered around the digging and fixing of Shahabad stones to form a gutter running round the three sides of the platform to supply water to the different canals that will run through the proposed orchard. May 14th, 1924, in the afternoon, a very weak old seeker came to the place and was taken to Baba. After asking him some questions, Baba ordered a bath for him, some clothes and food. Accordingly, Gustaji gave him a bath and change of linen, and after giving him food, he was made to take rest under the big neem tree. There was already there are already three other persons who are daily fed and well looked after by Mandali under Baba's instruction. There they are an old pair of Hindus, man and wife, the husband being simply a bag of bones. The third one is a mad woman of middle age called Jai. While this fourth old Muslim seeker is the latest tradition. In addition, the children are daily increasing in number and are coming twice a day in the morning and evening, when they recite poems, which they had begun to do nicely under Arjun's enthusiastic leadership. Thus, Aurangabad, rightly speaking, Baba's camp, Mehrabad, near it, has begun to buzz with life. May 15th, 1924, Baba came out of the room today after being locked up for 7 days and took some dal rice. Today being Thursday, we were to have exemption from labor, but it is postponed until tomorrow, and we take to daily labor as usual to finish off an urgent piece of work. Adi, who was sent to Ahmednagar with a message to his father, returns rather late, for which he is criticized by Baba. Rustam, who came in the carriage, refused an interview at first, but after some time, Baba talks with him. Baba also gave an interesting explanation to all of us on reaching truth, and the day ended with the usual songs of the Aurangabad children, which are followed by Baba with great interest. Our holiday today is again postponed, and all are asked to work as per routine. The ox, which has already been named Sant, arrives today. It is also of snow white color like the horse Sufi, and an excellent companion for the later. It is washed and cleaned by some of us and then tied near Sufi. Unfortunately, through slackness of the ox got free, and the whole mandali gave chase. After some time, he is collared again and brought and securely tied in the stable, but not before we were all drenched with perspiration and mud through chasing in the fields and stream beds. Sant thus gave a practical demonstration of his being equal to Sufi, not only in beauty but also in action. Now, only a dog is still to be added to this collection of animals called Sufi Sant and Sadhu as prearranged. Baba again talked of putting himself in the room, and under instructions, Padri is busy in fixing an insect-proof wire frame over the door for people to have Baba's blessing when he is locked up. But subsequently, Baba postponed this intention of getting into the room. In the evening, Yashwant Rao of Sakori came with some friends for Baba's blessing. May 17, 1924. Nowroz and his wife came to Mehrabad this morning, and the fruits brought by them proved a good treat for us. In the afternoon, after dinner, when we were all seated around Baba and having a talk, Narvas suddenly exclaims that it is the anniversary of the Prophet Zoroaster's death. Baba told Nervous he ought to have informed about it earlier for suitable celebrations. When celebrations were pressed by some of the Parsi and Irani Mandali, Baba again said it is too late. At this, Adi said, had it been some Hindu holiday, Baba would have shown keen interest. Upon this, Baba gave the Zoroastrian Mandali food permission to celebrate the occasion in a fitting way and added, it is because the Hindus take great interest in the religious celebrations that I give them encouragement. The element of devotion in Hindus is greater than in any other community.
Thanks, Mayor. Ernie, could you unmute and continue?
Nervous was sent to Nagar post haste on cycle to bring flowers and sweets. All excepting myself are exempted from the afternoon labor. They take a bath after Baba has his, and after a change of linen, gather round a blazing fire. By this time, Nervous returns from Nagar with the necessary things and joins the rest after having a bath. Thus, after reciting some special prayers near the dancing fire in Baba's presence, who was all the time sitting quiet, the sweets, etc., were distributed. In the evening, Baba sang for a while to the accompaniment of a sitar played by Adi, and also gave some fine explanations. May 18th, 1924. Baba has again put himself in the room and began to remain on liquids from today. Sri Maharaja's birthday is to be celebrated on the 20th next, and arrangements for its observance on a grand scale are in progress. One of the Mandali was rather coldly treated by Khan Sahib, Adi's father, when he had been to Nagar to bring the necessary things for the celebration. This gave rise to a great deal of trouble. Upon hearing this, Baba sent for Adi immediately and told him he was greatly disappointed with his family, saying, ill treatment to my Mandali was an insult to myself, and that he intended to leave this place, etc., etc. Lastly, Adi was sent to Nagar to inquire of his father whether his treatment towards the Mandali member was such, and if so, why. And Adi was further asked to convey to Rustam, Adi's brother, not to come to Mirabad hereafter, nor let his father do so. And he, Rustam, should act according to his own free will in all matters. After Adi's departure for Nagar, Baba ordered preparation to be made to go to Bombay, and Padri was ordered to take the wire net off the door. Before any of these orders were executed, Adi returned, as he had met Rustam midway, coming by motor to Baba with fruits he brought from Pune. Adi asked Baba if he would see Rustam, and after Baba agreed to an interview, Rustam saw Baba. After a long discussion, the matter, at least for the present, is ended upon Rustam's undertaking to follow Baba, word by word, irrespective of his father's attitude. Rustam also brought a dog with him, which, not being white throughout, does not meet with Baba's choice, and thus the place of Satu still remains vacant. May 19th, 1924. Today, Rustam's mother-in-law, Dalatmai, and her two daughters, one of whom is Mehera, arrived to stay for a few days and participate in Sri Maharaja's birthday celebrations. 2 small rooms near the mess quarters have been set aside for the ladies, who are about 5 now, including Davlamasi, who was already with us. It is a holiday for us, all save for Adi, who has been given the duty of watering the plants around the Zopdi of late. And as a compensation, he has been exempted from other labor work. Zopdi and compound have been profusely decorated with buntings and leaves of plantain, etc., for tomorrow's celebrations. May 20th, 1924. Sri Maharaja's birthday. Mehrabad has taken on a gay aspect today. Amidst the buntings and flowers, it is throbbing with the coming and going of carriages that have been bringing guests and visitors from different places. There is abundance of fruits, flowers, and sweets, and a great hustle bustle of people. Baba gave separate interviews to all the guests, including his brothers Jamshid and Bahram. After dinner at about 1 p.m., all gathered near Baba's Zokdi on the Shahabad stone pavement opposite the door of the room in which Baba sat behind the wire net. The sun being at its height, a temporary shelter was contrived with great difficulty. There were many people from the surrounding villages. First, the devotional singing was carried on for a considerable time amidst a great clash of bells, and then religious stories were begun to the accompaniment of harmonium and drums. For non-Hindus, the latter was interesting as the subject chosen by the leader was contact with the spiritual master, and delivered with great style in eloquent and flowing language. But all did not take place according to the program. By sunset, after performing the actual ceremony of birth by placing Sri's photo in a small cradle and then swinging it by a long string amidst some recitations, it was decided to carry the same photo in a palanquin decorated for this purpose. Suddenly, powerful blowing of the winds began drowning the storyteller's words. At this, he began to deliver his final lecture at the top of his voice. But nature also increased its force by great rumblings of thunder and streaks of lightning that flashed every now and then. At last, amidst a shower of rain, the above birthday ceremony was quickly performed and prasad distributed, and all dispersed. The palanquin program was also abandoned, and we were ordered by Baba to take our supper. After supper, the sky became clear again, and we were once more summoned near the Sopti to attend the devotional singing of the party, who have specially come for the purpose from Nagar. This party said their poems and used their bells in a refined way, which lasted till midnight, after which we retired for sleep. May 21st, 1924. We had been exempted from our individual morning prayers, and hence, after a long time, we had the pleasure of leaving the beds at 7 this morning instead of 5. Baba has begun taking a little dal rice once a day, but is still in the room, although now he talks freely with the mandali from the room. In the evening, a Bora gentleman came to see Baba. He seems to have some hankering for truth. Baba gave him long explanations and some advice, which looks to have impressed him much. After due salutations, he departed.
Thanks.
Mate,
Thanks, Ern. Rolf, are you reading today?
Yes, I could read.
Thank you.
Let's see here. See if we can get this a little larger. There we go. May 23rd, 1924. Baba came out of the room. Let me get this window. Baba came out of the room today, this time after 5 days. He called those who had surrendered for life beside him and made them take serious oaths to stick to him. Dr. and Abdul Tayyib have come from Lanavla in the latter's car, which has been specially brought to be placed under Baba's service. The mangoes, figs, etc., brought by them have provided us with a good change, along with the sweets brought by Rustam. Rustam asked Baba, on behalf of his father, permission for Adi to attend the marriage of his cousin, which is to take place this evening, and to get shaved for the purpose. We have all been keeping beards, and none is allowed to shave nowadays. Of course, Baba granted permission, but with great reluctance. Adi returned rather late after witnessing the marriage ceremony at about 10:30 p.m. He is seriously taken to task for the same, as well as for bringing about a hitch in Baba's system by having to shave off his beard. At first, he is asked to go back home and live to his full satisfaction there. But after some remonstrations, he is allowed to resume his stay here. May 24th, 2024, Baba seems to have been greatly disturbed by the recent attitude of Khan Sahib. Since morning, the same topic is discussed by Baba, whether in view of his attitude we should remain here or go to some other place is the burning question of the day. Adi and his family are greatly criticized. In this warm atmosphere, Rustam and Mother Gulmai arrive. Baba continues his remarks to Rustam, who already, having been deluged with such messages from Baba since morning, loses his temper and speaks rather rudely with Baba. This rudeness causes the recent sparks of resentment to fly in a great outburst. Baba seems to be greatly pained and at once starts toward Abdul Tayyib's car to go away somewhere, never to return to Arangown again. He takes his seat, while as many of the Mandali as can be accommodated get in the car after Baba. The atmosphere becomes very choked at this sudden departure of Baba, and there are many who have tears streaming down their faces. The engine is started and the car is about to move on when Mother Gulmai, who for so long controlled herself, burst into tears. At this touching sight, many remonstrate with Baba to abandon his idea of going away and they apologized for the rude words. Rustem himself begged to be excused. After a great deal of solicitations and discussions, and with great reluctance, Baba agrees to stay, but on 3 conditions. Firstly, Adi should no longer stay with him. Secondly, Rustem, his father, or anyone else from their family should not visit this place. And thirdly, this land should be transferred into Adi's or Gustaji's name. After this, Baba gets down from the car and in a very touching tone says, "It is only for mother," meaning Golmai, "that I have alighted." I think I better pass the baton.
Thanks so much,
Thank you.
Ralph. There's a good place to pick up next week. So we'll stop the share and stop the recording.